SAPMA is the South African Paint Manufacturers Association. It is the only association which represents companies who supply raw materials for the manufacture of the entire range of domestic and industrial coatings in Southern Africa, companies which use those raw materials to manufacture coating products, retailers who sell finished coating products into the domestic and the contracting sector in Southern Africa, and finally the applicators and contractors who use those coating products. SAPMA's objective is to recognize and to designate all professional practitioners, whether they are suppliers, manufacturers, retailers or contractors, because of their technical, operational or professional level of competency. We want the consumer to rest easy knowing that in dealing with a SAPMA-approved coating center, there is accountability for product and service, not just by the company supplying that product or service, but by qualified and accountable employees in that business. SAPMA's focus in professionalizing the sector is in ensuring that practitioners at each stage of the procurement chain have an opportunity to be recognized and have an obligation to remain accountable. Any practitioner who interacts with the coatings and manufacturing industry and deals with paint chemists, industrial consultants, designers, architects and contractors is an important link in the chain of production and quality assurance. Manufacturing and retail member companies of SAPMA have been calling for a dedicated focus on their sales and their consulting practitioners. It is in response to this request that SAPMA has established a specific designation, registered with the Professional Body for Coating, Corrosion and Applicators, the PCO-SC, focused on the professional coating operator sales and consulting. The SAPMA qualifications, which are mapped with this specific professional designation, focus on two aspects, namely the chemistry of paint and sales, and as importantly, the overall sales and consulting expertise. The first qualification, the Specialized Sales Program in Paint, which is integrated into the professional designation, consists of 70% of the essential components of the paint chemist qualification customized for the sales community on the basis of knowledge and insight, not mastery. This is not a sales training program, however. It is a program constituted from the knowledge component of the paint chemist course offered through SAPMA and its training arm, CPT. The second component of competencies assessed by SAPMA, which are required to complete this professional coating operator sales and consulting designation, has to do with sales and consulting training and expertise, training to be offered by SAPMA through its training arm, CPT. It is important to highlight that a professional sales practitioner needs to know the components of paint, needs to understand the manufacturing process, and have exposure into quality assurance and durability. It is necessary to understand what constitutes an expensive versus a cheaper paint and why there is a price disparity. It is not, however, necessary for this person to master paint formulations or be able to operate the various processes required in paint formulation and manufacturing. The professionalism of this level of practitioner, who is recognized and valued within the coating sector, is reflected in the ability of the individual to professionally, properly and effectively engage with, consult to and sell to buyers and other professional practitioners in manufacturing and retail companies who are responsible for formulating, manufacturing and retailing coatings into the private and the corporate consumer base. These two programs will be offered by CPT in one of two ways. Firstly, for those candidates wishing to enter the sector of coatings for the first time via a training route and pathway, and secondly, via a recognition of prior learning route for those already in the workplace who have not previously had access to dedicated training and development or professional recognition. SAPMA is contracted by the Professional Body for Coating, Corrosion and Applicators as the designation center for coatings to manage the designation process of candidates submitted for professional recognition. In the case of currently employed candidates, RPL will be the mechanism of choice, and candidates will progress to the summative assessment phase of the designation once the designation center is satisfied that the candidate meets the competency requirements for the chemistry as well as the sales and consulting components required by this professional designation. To qualify via the RPL route, the candidate has to be linked to a company and therefore employed in the coating sector. A direct supervisor has to be identified and registered to be associated with the candidate. It is the candidate's supervisor or manager who will be registered as constituting part of the assessment team working with the designation center, and therefore for the professional body in determining whether the individual is ready to be recognized as a designated professional. Whatever the route is to professional designation, it all starts with a commitment to be properly educated, trained, and assessed, both in the actual workplace and en route to obtaining the most sought-after designation in sales and consulting services for the coatings and the corrosion sector.